Hey everybody, my name is Elise. I am your host, and this is R828, the podcast. I want to welcome you here. I hope that you will find a home here because I simply want to inspire you for the better. It is my prayer that the content here will do just that. R828, you see it right there. It's simply an abbreviation for Romans chapter 8, verse 28 in the Bible, which says, we know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. How exciting is it to know that no matter what you've been through, the mistakes that you've made, the obstacles that have come before you, there is still a way for those things to work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. What is your purpose? I want to help you realize that. And if you've realized it already, I want to help you to stay on that journey. We're going to hear from people here on this channel and on our podcast who have gone through their own trials and tribulations, who have come out the other side, or maybe they're still going through things today, because let's face it, life doesn't stop, and we all face our own struggles internally, externally, each and every single day. So come along with me on this journey. I can't wait to get your feedback and just start building a community here. I'm so happy that you found us, and I hope that this channel will inspire you. Stay tuned. All right, everyone, my guest today is Elle Jae Johnson, and she is the founder, owner of Elle Jae Essentials, hailing from Flint, Michigan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to get into this. And I got to actually give people a little bit more of your background, because you have a phenomenal healthcare, skincare line that's all about health and healing. And I mean, that's so important today because obviously, the world is going through a lot, but you had your own personal story of how you came to start this business. Tell me about it.
So, Elle Jae Essentials was founded in 2017, and it was really just born out of necessity. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 14, and I've had eczema since I was 2. So, I was experiencing a lot of different things with my skin and my health and couldn't figure out why my skin was flaring up. I was breaking out. I was losing my hair. I'm ninth grade. My edges done fell out. It was just a hot mess. So, I'm doing research to figure out what is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, Elle Jae Essentials came about.
That's amazing. First off, that you're like, okay, I don't see a solution for this problem. I'm having these breakouts, infections. Even you said, what was like the practical step that said, okay, I'm going to try to mix this with this and put this together to develop a product?
So I would say definitely the body butters. The body butters were my very first product, the very first thing I formulated, created on my own. I created the recipe and I just did a lot of trial and error. I was on YouTube University. I was all over Google. I was just reading books, doing research to figure out what kind of ingredients were better for skin conditions and issues like mine. I would take those things that I found, start using them, put a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and next thing you know, we got a whole little something going on in this jar.
A whole little something with a whole lot of help for people. What is give people a little bit more background about Crohn's disease.
So Crohn's disease is an autoimmune deficiency disease where essentially my body fights against itself. So my healthy cells will see other healthy cells and think, all right, this is a gang war. So they attacking each other. But really, they're all little healthy cells, and they'll start to attack each other, break them down, and cause little infections. So I'll have joint pain, a lot of inflammation, a lot of bowel stuff. And for me, it really presented itself with my skin. So I would get these like skin lesions, these open wounds, and they would come from nowhere. Or I could experience simple things like a paper cut, and that would turn into an infection because my immune system was already compromised and already weakened. So that all coupled together just started to create a lot of issues within my body that still to this day, I'm identifying what's going on, finding my triggers, and trying to address them one by one.
So you were dealing with that at 14. That's young to try to have to navigate through that. What were the doctors, or what were things that you tried that didn't work? You don't have to name names, but
Definitely, I would say traditional medicine was not a lot of help for me in the beginning. I got sick in September of that year I was diagnosed. I wasn't diagnosed until December. So from September to December, my PCP, my primary care physician, was sending me everywhere across the state, but where we asked to go.
Mm.
So initially, when my mom noticed that, I was having all these issues and my doctor couldn't figure out what was going on, she's like, well, give us a referral to U of M. They have the best care for children in the state with what she's going through. They have more doctors, more resources. And with us, being on Medicaid at the time, we had to have a referral from the primary care doctor to even go there. So she's begging for the referral from September to December, and he's sending us everywhere. But I went to a wound care specialist. I was sent to ear, nose, and throat specialist. I had even gone to a podiatrist. And I'm like, sir, can we please get that referral?
Oh man, you know what? I think I can relate. Unfortunately, being treated for something that you don't have or not knowing what it is and having that uncertainty for that period of time. So you have September, October, November, December, where you trying all kinds of stuff to just probably help make yourself feel better at that time.
And at the same time, still experiencing issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, I'm in the ninth grade. So I had started a new school. I had just started a brand new high school. I didn't know anyone. And I immediately got sick within, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks of classes starting.
Wow.
So my classmates and peers are looking at me like, what's going on with you? Like, what's wrong? I'm being, picked on and bullied because they're asking me what the issues are. And I have no answers. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're not accepting that. Kids are ruthless. So they're looking at me like, girl, you contagious. Like, get on now.
Right. What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, what's that?
How did you deal with that? I could see a teenager that, taking a devastating effect to your self-esteem potentially. How did you get through that?
I think for me, it was a hot mess. There was a lot going on for me. I had just a lot going on at home at the time. I had, the school stuff. And so I was just kind of in a frenzy. And so the friends that I did have, I was able to lean on them for their support, emotionally and whatnot, and just communicating with them what I was going through. And then once I was finally diagnosed, it's as if things instantly got better. I suddenly became this, voice of change, standing up for other people like, I always, was able to stand up for myself, but I'm standing up for other people like, they might not have it, but I got it for you, okay? Because I've always had a smart mouth, so you're not going to talk to me crazy, okay?
So through that, you found some muscle and
I found a little bit more of my voice.
Yes. I love it. So you go through that time in high school. It's a long period before you're diagnosed. And then at what point do you decide I'm going to try to create my own products?
So years down the line, I've always just, whenever I see a problem and I don't see the answer that I want immediately, readily available, I'm the kind of person to go out and do it for myself. Very independent, very strong-willed. So as the years went on, growing up when I was still living with my mom, we weren't, the most affluent family. So I had to work with the resources I was given. But once I had gone on to college, my, scope of understanding started to widen a bit. I started to learn more about the world. I started to see more. And I started to see that the products that I had been using all my life weren't necessarily the best. They might have been the most cost effective sometimes. They might have been the most cheap, but they weren't necessarily treating what was going on with me. So as I grew into my own woman, moved out on my own, started learning more, like I said, I started noticing like, hey, people with conditions like me, they use a lot of shea butter. Why was I using that? So I'm using the shea and I'm like, this don't smell too good. And I was a fan of Bath and Body Works until I started noticing my skin was breaking out in like little rashes and hives. So I kind of took that and read the label and I'm like, okay, researching the ingredients in here, these aren't necessarily the best for sensitive skin. So I wanted the fragrance, the smell good, along with the effectiveness of the shea, the moisturizer, and I just took those two and combined it. So it really just came about as I, like I said, grew into my own woman, moved out on my own, got a little more time, a little more knowledge, and just took it and ran with it.
Was it one of those things, because for me personally, real quick, I'm going through this thing where I'm changing my diet because
Mhm.
of a certain reason, and I've been looking at the labels more, and mind blown as to what is in the food that I've been eating, what I've been, putting in my body, and how I'm gonna have to like now try to cook differently to be as healthy as I would like to be. When you were looking at these ingredients and looking it up, did you have any of those moments where it's like, oh, no wonder
Mhm.
this is happening? And what were some of the ingredients? I'm just curious, what were some of the ingredients?
So a big one for me was actually deodorant. I always had major skin issues under my arms. Like I would develop these open wounds, these like pus filled boils, and couldn't figure out what was really happening. And
Hmm.
so, doing a breakdown of the ingredients of the deodorant I was using, aluminum. I started noticing the products that had aluminum in it were breaking me out terribly. And so, just transitioning out of using that deodorant, finding a more natural deodorant, that definitely changed everything for me.
With some of the things that are approved to be in these products, is that something that you found alarming, like, I mean, aluminum in deodorant, for example, or whatever it may be? Was that something that you were like, okay, this shouldn't be allowed? Or
Yes, and it's ridiculous that, some of the stuff that's able to be sold here in the US, you look at other countries and most of those ingredients are prohibited, they're banned from being used or sold to consumers. And I started to notice the US had, quite a bit of relaxation with our standards.
hmm.
And even just being able to have that understanding and knowledge of how to read a product label or how to understand what the different ingredients are or where to look for information on certain ingredients definitely opened up my scope of things.
That is a word. I hope people really take that into account. No, I'm so serious. I know it's maybe time consuming, or you just want it because it smells nice or it looks good, but look at the label. Go ahead and do yourself and read what you're putting on your body, what you're consuming. um yeah, because even the makeup that you wear, or like me, I wear makeup when I do things like this, but yeah, it's important. So you go from figuring out kind of what doesn't work for you to creating your own recipes and body butters and stuff like that. Kind of take me through that transition of how that first one started, your first bottle, or you're stirring it up in the kitchen, or I don't know. But how did that come about?
So it really started, like I said, just doing research. I'm on YouTube University. I'm like, well, how they mixing it like this? Okay, how I get it smooth? Okay, what oils work best together that won't have my skin feeling greasy? And
Hmm.
so I'm just doing a lot of trial and error. I started off ordering stuff off of Amazon, found that wasn't the best for me. I was still breaking out. So I kind of got nervous because I'm like, these supposed to be natural. Like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
I had to do kind of more research on figuring out the validity of ingredients. So if you're ordering like essential oils, carrier oils, fragrance oils, there are countless countless brands that offer the same thing. So finding brands that I trusted that I could work with, trial and error, like I said, figuring out what oils went well together, how they combine with the shea, how much of an oil to add without losing the consistency I wanted. So it's just constantly been a learning battle, and I encourage anyone starting a business, no matter what it is, never be afraid to continue learning. I'm always taking different classes, always looking something up, doing consistent research to make sure I'm providing my consumers with the best product available.
Let's get into that a little bit more. So how do you go from, okay, I'm going to make this, see how see how it works for my skin and how it, helps to treat me, to, okay, I can sell this to other people. Other people can benefit from it. And what were your steps to try to make that happen, because you make everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Everything we create is created by hand, except the hand sanitizer, because that has to be tested for efficiency and everything. We don't create that. Okay,
Okay.
that has to be created by scientists.
So you go from now, making it's going to work for me, and now I'm going to be able to put this product out for somebody to buy it. What was that process like for you?
So my goal in the beginning was just to create things for myself. I wasn't looking to start a business. I wasn't looking to expand. And just as, family and friends do, I created some stuff for my mom. My mama done took it to work. She works at a doctor's office. So she's telling all the staff, like,
Right.
y'all look what my baby made. Y'all gotta try this butter my baby made. And
Go,
I'm
mama.
like, Mom. I'm like, Mom, that doesn't even, it's not even in a real jar. Like, what's going on here? I had just put in a little plastic tub so she could have something. I'm giving it to my boyfriend. My boyfriend works at a hospital. He's giving it out to his friends. And I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Okay, I see how it
Mm-hmm.
looks like a domino effect here.
Yep.
And so people said,
The word for me.
okay. And then what was the response like as the word started spreading?
It was amazing. Coming out the gate, response has always been very well. And I'm a very introverted person. So when the business really started to expand and people were recognizing me as LJ, I'm like, my name is Asia. Like, who's this persona y'all are creating?
So that was created from your name. That wasn't the name you came up with per se.
So the LJ stems from the initials in my name, La Asia Johnson. And it kind of took on a life of its own. So a lot of times when I'm in public, people will see me and they'll say, I know you, you're LJ, right? And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's me. It's me.
Okay.
Like, I've just had to come to accept it because the business has taken on a complete life of its own. I don't have my own personal identity anymore as much as I would like to. But people see me as this big, fun, vibrant personality. And I'm like, y'all, I'm really a homebody. I really like being at home with my dog watching Netflix.
But you're modest, but I think that the response probably came out of a need and people not being able to find it, just like you weren't able to. I know I love my let me do a little product placement. How do they do it on the YouTube like this?
That's what they do. Y'all see it? Mango papaya.
Anyway, the water crisis, that was something that I know you have obviously been affected by greatly, as have so many people. Man-made public health disaster that's done so much harm to people as far as skin, as far as life itself, being taken. What is your take on how your business was able to be a hope and something that people look to in the water crisis as well in Flint?
So I've always just communicated that my purpose has always been bigger than the product. I've always wanted to be a teacher, teach people about the ingredients that they're using and how they can affect their skin. And once the water crisis kind of exploded and the business was kind of put out there in the forefront, I was able to teach more people about the products that they were using, helping them with the newfound skin conditions and issues that they were experiencing as an effect of the water. I know for myself personally, it really helped my family. I was able to help my niece. My niece was born, after the water crisis was exposed. And my sister would always complain about her dry skin. Her skin was always really dry. Her hair was always really dry. And TT Asia was able to create products that were safe and effective for her. And that meant the world to me. I'm able to put my products out there, have them be readily available and accessible for people, and create something for my city, my hometown. I've been a Flint resident all my life, born and raised in the city. I want to give back to my city all that has been given to me. So even for me making decisions for my business, my flagship store will be open right here in Flint. Anything that I do to expand my business will always start right here at home.
Yeah, you are part of a big group of entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, especially in the city, that are just coming up. They're coming for, the whole business industry right now, and I love to see it. What is the next thing for Elle Jae Essentials?
So right now we are actually in the process of building up a flagship store right here in Flint. We'll be right down in the University corridor, down the street from Kettering University.
Now, aside from the flagship that you're getting underway in Flint, right now is actually a good time to shop for the holidays as well.
So we'll be at Great Lakes Crossing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. in District 1, right near Tommy Hilfiger. So everybody come see me for your favorite natural skin, hair, and beard care products.
Okay, we got we got it. Anything else you want to mention? Favorite products, what people should try, because in addition to the skincare, you've got the hair care, and we talked a lot about the skin, but you got the hair products as well.
So my absolute favorite product for the hair care is the hair growth oil. Now I told y'all in the beginning, I had a nice little infection in my scalp and all my little edges fell out. That's not cute. Okay. I was in high school. They was trying to blaze. I had to get back with them. That's not the wave. It's not the vibe. So I had to create something once I got the knowledge too that actually helped with that. And I've been growing my hair back in
Looks
as I
lovely.
transition into my new lock journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a very exciting process. I'm used to having very short hair by choice. Every single year, for some reason, I decide I'm going to cut it all off. But this year, I said I'm actually going to continue with this journey, see how long I can get it, and actually stay committed to the process.
Right. The commitment is the big part. What is, I'm sure, some people who may be listening to this, especially with this being a beauty topic, are it gets tough sometimes. As women, we are, if it's not the hair or the skin, is something else, or the clothes and how you look and the makeup. There's so much for women to have to pay attention to as far as beauty, health, and wellness. What is your kind of go-to mantra, or how do you define beauty for yourself and for the people who you want to buy your products?
So for me, every single morning I get up, I say, you smell good, you look good, you feel good. That works for me every single day to set the standard and the tone for my day. I'm a strong believer in it starts on the inside. So if I'm speaking to myself how I want to be spoken to by other people, if I'm treating myself how I want to be treated by other people, I'm already setting the standard for how it's going to come back to me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I always just get my day started with my affirmations. I tell myself, sis, you are successful. You are exactly where you want to be. And you already have opportunities in regions and areas that you don't see right now.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, every day, as long as I get up, say my prayers, jump up for joy, I'm ready to go.
I am so with you on that. I love, for me too, starting the day, honestly, that's the time where I am able to pray. I have to myself to just get on the right foot and to get into that deep meditation and moment, and just, lock
Mm-hmm.
in to the day, setting the what my intentions are for the day. So I definitely agree with you on that. Words before we go, any just general word of advice for anyone else like yourself who may be starting out, or who may have encountered a new skin problem or new health problem, and they're kind of on a journey to finding out what's going on?
I always tell people I'm very personable and approachable. If you ever have questions, inquiries, anything, shoot me a message. Shoot me a DM, an email. All my social media handles are at Elle Jae Essentials. So feel free to reach out and connect with me there. If you're an aspiring business owner, entrepreneur, just keep going. Stay the course and don't be afraid to ask for help. Once I started asking for help, reaching out to my resources and building my team, my business started to grow right along with me.
Okay. Great sound advice, LaAsia. I'm sorry, LJ. I gotta get with the people. LJ, thank you so much for doing the podcast. Appreciate it. Wishing you nothing but the best success and blessings in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely.